The lower Little Tennessee River sprawls across these three East Tennessee counties: Loudoun, Monroe, and Blount. And as many as 18 rivers and reservoirs in the lower Little Tennessee River watershed are on the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation's 303D list. While not all the streams or reservoirs are listed because of chemical contamination, others are listed because of stream modification. The reservoir most contaminated is the Tellico Reservoir, with 16,500 acres of trace amounts of PCBs and mercury. It is contained by Fort Loudoun Dam. While the TDEC says there are fishing warnings, many people still fish on the lower shelf of the dam area. Some fish have been washed ashore. PCBs and mercury do not break down over time, and instead biomagnify. Many fish and fatty tissue within the fish have higher amounts, making them unsafe for human consumption. However, many people still fish, boat, and swim near the Tellico Reservoir. Much of the lower Tennessee River watershed is used recreationally, with many parks, boating docks, and fishing areas. This helps bring tourists to the Smoky Mountains and helps boost the economy. Not many people have complaints about the water, other than the evaluation made by water quality stations noting the chemicals existent in the watershed. Many dams line up along the Little Tennessee River, and most are primarily used for flood control and hydroelectric power in the lower Tennessee River, such as Chilhowie Dam. Some places receive flooding waters because they aren't much higher up in elevation than the river, particularly where the Little Tennessee River flows next to Highway 129. Sometimes the river will flow over the road into some farmland, pulling along with it higher amounts of sedimentation and occasionally biological components such as E. coli, which ends up back in the watershed. Chilhowie Dam is undergoing repairs and has been releasing water from the reservoir for the last 8 months. TVA advises many people to avoid using the reservoir for recreation at this point in time until they have determined where the leak is and seals it. Depending on what kind of weather season is happening each year, the flooding does not often occur because the dams help keep water flow under control. But if East Tennessee sees higher rates of precipitation, particularly in the mountains, it may be more difficult to control and maintain because of how quickly water flows from higher to lower elevations. Rather than talk about weather in Tennessee, though, the usual climate of East Tennessee is considered a subtropical humid region according to the Köppen climate system, where there is reasonable seasonality, very humid air in the summer, and higher rates of precipitation. Depending on an El Niño or La Niña season, these both cause abnormalities in precipitation rates and temperature means, which can influence the average of a typical season. While there are still some issues with water quality in the lower Little Tennessee watershed, many of them can be resolved. Solutions such as helping farmers with fertilizer applications to avoid overuse and applying it correctly so it won't get washed away. This causes harm and health issues to the many others using the watershed for recreation and for other biological life.